Hey, what it do, what the business is.
It's another week in the books with the On Deck TV show, man. We took a week off, had to get back in the saddle. Timing was off, man. What it do though?
Absolutely. Hey, man, took the holiday off. Hope everybody had a safe and enjoyable holiday, but we are back like we left our keys. It's your man, Animal Brown, Animal_Brown. If you're looking for me on social.
Absolutely, man. And I am Spike Lou on them same social sites. Holla at your boy. Like you said, AB got to take that holiday off, man. How you been?
Feeling good, feeling great. My football team is 1-0. You know what I'm talking about?
Number one team in the league, though. How can
Green
be
Bay,
1-0
I
with your
know.
little quarterback?
Oh, shit.
Nigga, we put up 50 burgers and don't give up points. Number one defense in the league. Let's go. America's team hat on for the YouTubers.
Nigga,
let's do it.
First piece of Dallas merch at 45.
Facts. I had a starter jacket when I was 10. Nigga, I committed this year and bought a hat. That's it, though. That's all they getting from me.
Oh, shit, man. Action-packed episode coming up, man. We got new singles from the ladies, Cardi, Megan, Lotto, Sexy Red. They all dropped something. Also, Gunna had a show in New York, man. Had a very interesting turnout. We're going to talk about that. And Quavo says we need to bring back mixtape sites. We'll see if he's on to something or not. But first, your man Puff P. Diddy has a new album upcoming, dropping this week, I believe, Friday. He did something very special, man. He said, yo, I'm all about love. I'm Brother Love now. It's Love Records. I am giving back publishing to my artists. That includes all the throwback acts, Faith, Mace, XYZ, all of them. Let me ask you this, man. Is it a kind gesture that Puff just did, or is this a pub stunt for his upcoming album?
It's both. It's a decent gesture, being that, as someone pointed out, Mark Curry, I think that these artists that are getting their publishing deals back could have made a lot more money a long time ago if Puff had given it back then. With that being said, man, if they got their business right and they know what they're doing, maybe they can still make some possible money out here. They can get out there, shop these deals. Maybe I don't know if it's the same thing as masters when the guys are selling their catalog and shit. It's not the same thing, right?
Yeah,
was it similar?
Yeah,
similar. Okay, so maybe some guys that he gave it to could make some deals off of that. So I commend it, but I also see when you look this up and we're doing the research for it for the show, it ain't Hip Hop DX or Hot New Hip Hop that's reporting this. It's USA Today. It's the LA Times. It's Variety Magazine. Yep. It's Up Rocks. It's Rolling Stone. So clearly this was an effort from Puffy's team to get some motion going on all the big publications. And hey, by the way, I got this album coming out. Oh, and by the way, it's got to do with love. See how much love that I'm showing. So yeah, he could have did this a long time ago. It would have been even better, but he did do it. So they can't complain anymore that they don't have it. However, yeah, it's calculated as well. That's how you get to $1 billion like Puff is at. Like, you don't just do that shit doing what everybody wants or thinks you should do. You're supposed to make calculated moves. And this was, and I don't knock him for it. Shout out to Puff.
Yeah, this is supposed to be music to the ears of those like Mace, Faith Evans, 112, even the Locks, and Biggie's estate as well, allegedly. So apparently he declined a 9-figure deal to sell Bad Boy's music catalog in favor of making this play instead. Now let's keep it a stack. Let's keep it a buck. He's not turning down 9 figures to give something away for free. Like, listen, we're not gonna act like Puff fell and hit his head and now he a new nigga. Like, let's stop the bullshit.
So what, you think it wasn't no deal? Oh, you think it wasn't no deal?
I don't know. He didn't turn down 9 figures to do something for free. We know that. Puff does not. There's nothing in his history, in his resume, in his Carfax to show that he would make that move. That wouldn't be a smart move anyway. I don't give a fuck. What? No.
Nobody would do that. I'm
talking about I wouldn't suggest
the richest
he do
people
that
in
shit.
the world. Bill Gates.
112 wouldn't want him to do that. Like, the fuck? But I will say Mark Curry had a very interesting point. He said that, look, he's basically like strung out and used up those publishing rights, and those songs are pretty much worthless now. I think somebody likened it to borrowing your car on full and then bringing it back on E. It's kind of like that. That's what I forgot who said that. I'm forgetting where I read that. But I thought that was a pretty interesting comparison. Now, these aren't people who are in Puff's camp, so they don't really know. Like Mark Curry doesn't know, but he knows how the industry works more than I do. I've never been an artist before. So
was
he
in
may
Puff
be
camp, though,
onto
right?
something,
Like,
but
he used to be familiar with Puff, right?
he definitely was signed to Puff. He has a book out. He can't stand Puff. He has a book
Yeah,
called
the
Dancing with
devil
the
you know, or
Devil. I
something.
read
Dancing
it.
with
It
the
came out
devil.
about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's a very interesting book. He hates Puff at the end of the day. So I'm not surprised that take would come from him. But I will say the timing is very appropriate. He's got an album coming out Friday. He's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award at the VMAs on Tuesday. So it's a big week for Puff. So the news is right on time. So of course you have to align it with something that's dropping to kind of get some hype up around it. But hey, man, if he ends up doing it, I guess better late than never. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can't be mad at it.
Yeah, you
Not
can't be
sure if it
mad.
was a
No, but motherfuckers
nine-figure.
can't be mad. They gonna be mad.
I mean, the first thing that I thought about when you said it's like borrowing a car and bringing it back on empty, nigga, at least you got your car back. You can go get some gas.
That's true.
Like, I got to do everything if I'm Puff. Goddamn, nigga, I bought the car for you. Just let me use it for a little bit, nigga. I'm gonna bring it back. Get your own goddamn gas. Tired of working for you niggas.
But what realistically though? Like, what realistically are those songs on Double Up worth? Like, let's be what you're not getting no movie soundtrack play on that shit, no commercial. Ain't nobody's looking for that, dude. Like,
I guess
what is this
too,
shit
though,
worth, man?
right? It could depend on how much motion you got, though, right? Like, if I'm Puff and I'm tied in, or I know people who do those placements in those commercials or do those placements with PlayStation or Xbox, it may be a surprise song, something that was like that nigga still playing Pump It Up. Like, you wouldn't have thought maybe however many years ago that you still hear that on video games or whatever it may be. I feel like that you have to have motion, though, in order to sell these things. Puff got more motion than any nigga that got this published. So I do agree with Mark Curry.
Mace cooking no right now a little bit with the shit with him
with
and
the
Cam.
sports show. With the sports show. I mean, unless they finna start licensing that shit on NFL Sundays, the Mace shit that I don't really see the play. Mace is cooking. I don't want to knock you there, but I'm talking about, the larger play though. Like, niggas doing a movie and we want to use this song off his Double Up and they gonna hit up Mace, or Mace got some representation out there that's actively shopping the song. Like, I feel like Puff, if he wanted to focus on that, I can actively shop these old ass songs and I can make them find fit somewhere if I wanted to waste my time doing that.
Yeah.
But Puff got way more to do than that.
I find it interesting this album coming out is not on Bad Boy though.
Is it still a thing as Bad Boy?
Yeah. Janelle Monáe album was on Bad Boy that came out this year.
I wonder why Puff album not on there.
It's on Love Records.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that a subsidiary of Bad Boy, maybe?
Nah. It's his new shit. It's like new No Limit.
Oh my God. Please, God, don't remind me. I forgot that even happened, nigga.
As we
Please
should.
don't remind me of that. All right, next, man. Speaking of New No Limit, going down to New Orleans native BG, man. He was recently released from jail. Birdman was there to pick him up. Dreads hanging to the flow, man. It was good to see one of our childhood legends be back out here, man. I have a question for you, AB. It's really simple. Do we need that Hot Boys reunion album, tour, or neither?
Do we need it? I think a show would be cool. A show would be pretty dope.
Show?
I would like like a live show.
Okay.
But I don't need a full tour. That's gonna be hard to do with a nigga like Wayne's schedule. Everybody else may be available, respectfully, but Wayne is busy. Wayne on the goddamn. He got to be in LA to do Fox Sports with Skip with his BFF, and I'm sure his calendar is at least 8 months already locked in advance. So aside from that, I would like to see a couple of shows. Like, I think a show in New Orleans obviously needs to be in a play. I think a show in Atlanta because I'm being selfish so I can go. And then maybe throw one in LA, Miami, and New York. Like, you have a Hot Boy reunion show, 5 cities would go crazy. I don't necessarily need a new album per se, because I don't want to listen to Juvenile rap in 2023. I don't want to listen to Turk rap in 2023. I don't want to listen to Turk rap in 98 when this shit was popping. Right. I don't want to listen to him in 2023.
You started with the wrong nigga. Juvie still got bars, I'm assuming.
What are you basing that off of?
The tiny desk. That's it. Just
And
the
who knows
momentum.
what is BG gonna be talking about?
I do not want to hear new BG. I ain't even gonna hold you. Nigga
That's
said
what I'm
he had 8
saying.
albums lined up, bro. I'm good.
So what? But would
I'm
you be?
good.
So
I
you
ain't want to
wouldn't
hear
be?
BG before he got locked up. Like that BG that was coming out
Oh,
off
the
of Cash
independent
Money.
BG, yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't want to hear that. It was one album that was banging after Cash
One or
Money when he
two,
had that
one or
little hit.
two.
Yeah, but
It was
I'm
one or
good
two.
now. Um, I'm with you. I would wonder what ties the venue. Like, would it be something as big as they would do like the Dome in New Orleans, or would it be a more intimate setting to make it better? That's what I would wonder. But yeah, I would want to see that show. I still listen to that old music. It would be dope seeing those guys if they could get Wayne. I would want to see everybody there. I wouldn't want
That's
it
what
to
I'm
be like
saying.
3 people. I would want to see Baby, Manny, all
Man,
of them, and it just make it a nostalgic experience. But that's for our generation. So yeah, I would be here for that. An album, no. I'm dumb good. I just don't see it. Because like you said, Wayne busy. So we're gonna get him sprinkled on 2 or 3 songs probably that won't even make sense. And he just gonna obliterate everybody on the track. And that's gonna be like what the album is gonna be reduced to. I mean, I think their legacy is good, man. Like they don't need to go in and record no more albums. They can tour what they got and we good. But yeah, I would love to see a tour stop date in Atlanta or New Orleans since I've never been there, but I don't need the album.
I'm scared of new music from BG just because of the hype behind his release. We've seen this before. We saw it with Shine. We saw he came out sound like the Cookie Monster. We saw it with Boosie. It took him 2 years to find the beat after he was released. We saw it with Bobby Shmurda. He can't make a song to save his life. Like it just ain't the same. And when you've been in for 11, 12, 13 years, bro, and you was already kind of on thin ice with the Koch Records joints, like I want people's expectations to be tempered in terms of music. That's all. We gotta calm down.
Pac and T.I., I would say, had the best post jail runs,
but they didn't do double-digit years though.
This did facts,
which helps
point
tremendously.
Point. But I mean, that's what I'm like. Boosie wasn't gone. Well, he was gone 5 years.
He went for a minute. Gucci, you could argue Gucci has came out sounding decent. Like his stuff isn't
bad. He went to jail so many times though. Like that, I think it did take a hold that last time. Because yeah, if you talking about first day out, like when he came, that was like he was on top of the world then. But I think that last time, maybe when he threw the girl out the car allegedly or whatever he went for, that was a wrap when they was talking about clone shit and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad he's home. I hope he's able to do something tremendous with his life and the rest of what he got going on. But yeah, it may be a lot of pressure to start rapping again.
Do we get a BG song this month?
He's slipping. I would have had that first day out, nigga, a week ago.
Yeah.
Even if it sounds like Trey, I just need a hot beat, bro. Give me a who's hot right now. What's the nigga name that do
Hit Boy?
Sexy Red Beats? What's the popping nigga right now? Is it Tay Keith?
Oh, in Memphis, out of Memphis. Tay Keith.
Yeah. Give me 2 or 3 throwaway Tay Keith beats and let him just be off beat or whatever it may be.
I was about to say, bro.
Just do that though. Because you don't want to hear him on no Manny Fresh. That's gonna make you think of the old shit. It's gonna be like, man, it's stale. Like put that nigga on the Tay Keith beat, or you like you said, Hit Boy, or whoever the fuck
whoever hot.
Who gets
the first interview? Who should get it? They asked you.
Damn, man, you're gonna hate this answer, but I gotta go with it because it's the one to get more in depth and gonna have the best questions is Nori, bro.
Oh my god, the best questions.
Absolutely, man. The most unfiltered questions where BG gonna be most relaxed, man. He get down there with Baby, that's Birdman City, Miami. They smoking, drinking, having a good time at Drink Champs. BG gonna really open up. I couldn't see him going. I mean, I don't. You know what? When Joe Budden was on Gilly and Wallow, it really made me see how much I do not appreciate their interview style.
Yeah,
like Gilly be rough. Playing.
It's rough.
Yeah, Gilly be on there playing too much, and Wallow be asking serious questions. It just don't.
Yeah, it's rough.
I still fuck with him. I like the show and shit, but it's hard to listen to. So that's why I excluded them. I would go Drink Champs. Who you got?
He got to go Breakfast Club.
I knew you was gonna say your boy.
They got the best ones. You
waving that banner strong.
Here's the only reason I say that because to me, Charlamagne asks the best questions. He just does, and he doesn't go throw underhanded, and he's informed. He knows about how
asked the best question. He just cut niggas off. He don't let you answer the fucking question.
What?
Yeah, Nori asked great questions. He just started talking over him and asking people, do they eat booty and stuff like right behind a good question.
Nori's not informed enough for me. That's all.
That's
If
fair. That's a
I'm
fair
watching something
assessment.
and I feel like I know more than the host, then I'm out. I clock
You
out.
know it all. You know it
I
all.
know a lot of shit though. This is true.
You're a know it all. It's a
I know a
difference.
lot of shit.
So I can see that. Yeah, I can see you not liking it. That it makes sense. I like, for me, it's more about comfortability and how transparent are they going to be. That's why I fuck with like Joe Rogan so much. It ain't really about how much the person knows. It's just how comfortable are they doing the interview and how much they going to let loose, let me in.
That's
Pause.
true. He won't be
Yes.
comfortable on Breakfast Club. That's a fact. That's not the when you think comfort. That's not the top 2 or 3.
No. Absolutely not.
Nah, it's not.
The owner for Paul, but just 1 second. The owner for the Jets got an iced out Woody chain on it. It's fucking nuts. That
That
is
sounds
crazy.
wild.
80-year-old
Iced out
white
Woody
man with an
sounds
iced
crazy.
out chain spelling out Woody.
That's nuts.
All
Somebody
right,
gotta let
what
him
we got?
know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Next up, man, your boy Schoolboy Q was on the Back on Fig podcast. That's the same podcast that Reason got into it with his CEO on. So they popping right now. Shout out to Back on Fig. Man, Schoolboy said they asked him why he doesn't drop albums more frequently. And he said, man, because this isn't a sport to us. Speaking of TDE, he said, man, this is real life. We don't look at rap as a sport. Like, I got real life stuff going on and I need time for real life shit to happen so that I can have something real life to speak on. And that doesn't happen if I'm dropping every 6 months. My question, are you buying that explanation of why artists on TDE don't drop more often?
It makes sense, but I don't buy it. And the reason that I don't buy it because I was reading an interview just before this one came out, and Schoolboy Q was misquoted and saying somebody was better than he was. And he corrected the nigga. He was like, nah, I ain't say the nigga was better. The only nigga that I think better than me is K-Dot.
Yeah.
Is what he corrected the nigga and said. So if it's not a sport, the better or worse shit shouldn't ever come up to you. It's art to you, right? So that's why I feel like that's a cop out because I haven't had an album out in 5 years and I fuck with the niggas over the label and I don't want to blame them for it like a nigga like Reason did that just got called out for it. And also too, if I'm Schoolboy, like I'm rich, bro. You're right. There's a lot of shit that I can do in 5 years other than being in the studio recording the album, mixing, getting ready for it, coming up with thoughts. I've been seeing this nigga playing golf, like just in random wild places. Like I wouldn't want to rap neither. I ain't gonna hold you. I would say the same thing. Oh, this is not a sport. This is my job, and I do it when I'm motivated. And the only problem that I have with that as a Schoolboy Q fan is that it takes 5 years for motivation to happen. Like, can we cut that down to 2.5, maybe 3, bro? Like 5? Don't try to fool me with this not a sports shit because he's competitive about it.
Exactly. And that was what I was just about to say. It's whether or not you want it to be a sport or not, it is. Everybody around you are treating it like a sport. So if you're in the minority if you're not. If you look at his track record, his last album hasn't came out. It came out in 2019. Before that, it was 3 years in between albums with Blank Face. Before that, it was 2 years. Before that, it was 2 years. And before that, it was 1 year. So it's not as if he's goddamn Prince dropping every 17 years and shit. Like he has a decent cadence going on. The nigga's not disappearing like that. He's just doing that more recently. And like you said, more recently, he's at his peak in terms of success. So he playing golf, he raising his daughter, he really shaking, he really living a dream, and I'm not mad at that. And I would have been cool if he would have led with that. Like, fam, I'm living my dream.
Retired, bro. Yeah, like bro, I made the money, nigga.
I'm slick retired. I got 2 more albums on this deal left, and I'm gonna take my time, dude, because there's no pressure anymore.
I signed good paperwork. I have money coming in. I invested well. There's no reason for me to be hanging out with these new niggas trying to catch a hit. If he had came out and said that, nigga, I would have been on board because I get it. Welcome to the Wash Club, my nigga. I understand what you're saying. Get your money and get out of the way. 100%. But for you to say, oh, I'm not competitive about it, that'll be like, that's just not, it don't add up. Especially with someone who is a high quality rapper like he is. If this was Blueface,
yeah.
If this was a nigga that didn't have bars, okay, I get what. Yeah, it ain't a sport to you because you're trash. But Schoolboy, nah, bro. You're one of the elite rappers of your generation, so it is a sport to you.
It seems like, first of all, I immediately thought of the Drake line on the song with him and 21 at Privileged Rappers. Niggas be full of excuses, act like they taking their time. I that
He talking about Kendrick right there.
I thought he was too,
Yeah.
but Kendrick really don't talk a lot though and say why he doesn't. He takes time in between. That's the thing. So I don't know. He could have been, but I did think of that line immediately when he said that, and I actually thought they were throwing a sub at Drake because Drake
But there
drops
is a
relatively frequently.
there's a built-in excuse for an artist like Kendrick that I feel like industry heads give, and even Fairweather fans is like, oh, his albums are so in depth that it has to take that much time to do it. And I could understand a nigga like Drake being like, bro, I got bars too, my nigga, and I could do this shit in 6 months. Like, what we talking about? Like, I could understand a nigga like Drake throwing some subs at him like that. So I could see it both ways.
Because if a nigga like LeBron came out and was like, man, I mean, it's just a game, man. Like, niggas they'll kill him. Nigga, no Mamba mentality, no clutch gene, no nigga Jordan would never. It would be all of that. Schoolboy can fly under the radar because he's not mentioned up there with the GOATs, so to speak. Like, he dope as hell, but he's not in the conversation of the top three. J. Cole not saying this, Drake not saying this, and Kendrick not saying this at all. And if they did, people would kill them for it because they take it more. They're supposed to be taking it more serious. They're supposed to have that Mamba mentality with it, like trying to cut niggas' heads off, as we heard with the Kendrick leak. That, you know what I'm saying, with him dissing or, you know, semi-dissing Sean and a couple of other people. People like that. They like the competitive spirit when it comes to that shit. That's what it was built on.
That's what rap is. Like, it's a competitive sport, nigga. That's the freestyling and all that shit. You can play your lane and be a Larry June type nigga or whatever it may be. No diss or disrespect to them, but it's still a competitive sport. Like, you can't just say, oh, I don't see it that way.
So that means we have no album in sight. We getting them on for 2025. That's gonna drop when GTA 6 drop, nigga. That's when we getting that.
Gonna be on a PGA tour before he do a rap album, bro. Moving on, your man from the Hughes brother, Allen Hughes, he came out and made a statement that says, oh man, Jay-Z's rise was due to Biggie and Tupac passing. Is this a fair or foul assessment, AB?
It depends on how. First of all, he's not the first person to say this. A lot of people say they leave Pac out, but they usually say Biggie passing is the only reason why Jay is where he's at. We hear that a lot. Allen Hughes, one half, like you said, of the Hughes brothers, just recently did the fantastic Dear Mama series, and is currently working on a Snoop biopic. He said, and he didn't name names. He didn't name Jay, but it was pretty clear who he was talking about. He said, when you shoot the 2 A+ students in the class, referring to Biggie and Pac, the C- student starts to rise to the top. Now, he said he didn't want to say a name because he was hesitant to offend, quote, iconic, legendary, gazillionaire rappers. We know who he was talking about. And then he shouted out Brooklyn. And so we know who he was talking about.
That's weak right there, though. Like, why dance all around it and not just come out and say it, bro? Like, now people, I wouldn't even respect it now that I know what you mean, because you're scared to just come out and say it. I don't know what he thinks Jay-Z is going to do to him. And then, like, he going to come to fisticuffs because you said that, nigga, you famous because Pac and Big passed. Like you said, many of people have said this before, but I'll credit the conversation that I heard around Jay-Z when we talked about the Dame Dash stuff and did he need Dame? And the overall consensus is, man, Jay-Z had talent. He's got talent. He's one of the more talented rappers just from a creative standpoint and a bar standpoint that we've ever seen do this. Like, that ain't even an argument. So for a nigga to be like, man, if Pac and Big was alive, it wouldn't have, like, that's just not true. Like, his time may have just been a little later or a little different from the time that it popped off. But at some point in time, Jay was going to break through. Like, and my point to that would be, I didn't really have a full idea who Jay-Z was on that Big album when they did the song where they were shooting the Monopoly at the beginning, and when Pac was dissing it. When Pac was saying like the shit on I didn't know who the fuck Jay-Z was
first. Yeah.
But they did.
Yeah.
These niggas was at the top of their game making songs with niggas or going at niggas who we didn't even know yet because they seen the talent that he had and he was a threat. So no, I don't believe that he wouldn't have been Jay-Z without them. Like, he may have been even bigger. Maybe him and Big wouldn't do some shit that we never seen before. Because people still regard Big as the best or one of the best rappers in the game. And if you have him and Jay alive navigating this game together from the same place, God knows what that would have looked like. Yeah. Like, we think Jay Big now might have been something totally different and even bigger if Big had been alive. So Nah, I
Here,
don't agree with that.
here's the only argument I could see is that at the time, like you said, they were bigger than him. They were quote unquote in the way. If you're trying to get to the top, they were in the way. They were the Pistons when Jordan was trying to get through the playoffs. So if you take them, if you eliminate them from the equation, the path is now slightly easier. But that's already your trajectory. I think that's where the argument comes in. Most people believe that he was already on the trajectory. It wasn't as if he was being stifled by them. It was just that he was on the way there. They just happened to be standing in the place. Now, that does make the path easier if those two are eliminated. And there are now two empty seats right there, it does make the path a little bit easier to get to. But does that, I know in no way do I think it means because they were so dope, we never would have cared about what Jay put out. And like, no, let's relax, let's chill out. Reasonable Doubt came out when both of them was alive, and it's considered a classic. So like, just relax. I feel like if anything, it just made the path slightly shorter. I'm talking about ever so slightly.
The Jay-Z revisionist history is insane. Like us being people that grew up in that generation and have seen, like you said, I wasn't on Jay when Reasonable Doubt came out, and I wasn't on him when Volume 1 came out, but I do remember when Hard Knock Life came out. Yep. And from Hard Knock Life to now, for a nigga to be like, oh, yeah, man, that wouldn't have happened if, or like, man, stop it, bro. Like that tidal wave was undeniable, bro. It was gonna be a different time when he broke through.
Because real quick, think about it. When Reasonable Doubt came out, Pac had just dropped the double disc.
Yeah,
and we know how Reasonable Doubt had got, like, when it first came out, it didn't make the splash like it.
Especially
people regard it now.
Right.
There was a huge.
I remember my homeboy pulled me to the side and had me listening to Volume 1. Yeah, I was like, y'all niggas listening to Cash Money. I thought one of his songs was a diss song to Cash Money, because like, damn, Playboy, what the fuck you done to that? Yeah. When he was talking about the Rolex diamond. So like, Jay-Z was going like, come on, bro.
It's a lot easier when you don't have a double platinum, 10 times platinum double album cloud hanging over your release date, though.
That's true. That is 100%.
Let's be real. Is that me? Next up,
yes, sir.
Your boy Quavo took to Twitter, or X, whatever. It's always Twitter. And he said, man, look, y'all need to bring back the mixtape sites, dude. I'm sitting on a gang of music. I know a lot of people sitting on a gang of music. I'm trying to go on one of them Lil Wayne runs from back in the day. Artists need to have the ability to do that. He thinks that may be holding the game back. Now, a lot of people are talking about how hip-hop is slow this year. Do you think a mixtape site or mixtape run, or artists having the ability to do mixtapes, could revive the genre?
Quavo been listening to the On Deck TV show. Cause yes, nigga, yes. Let me paint this picture for you. Could you imagine like those mixtape sites if you had niggas who, like, it ain't gotta be like J. Cole or Drake or nobody, but people with recognizable enough names going, being like, man, I got the 10 best beats in the game. It's dropping Friday, nigga. I'm murdering everything that come out. And then after that, Quavo, oh, well, I want to do it. And then you get another nigga like ESCG saying, okay, I'm going to start jacking beats again. That would give the game the jolt that it needs in order, like, for people like to get excited about it again. But I don't think people love, when I say people, the rappers don't love like rapping like they used to when mixtape was hot. Like, you get a nigga like Gucci, man, regardless of how street that nigga tell you he was, even a nigga like Jeezy, or a nigga like Wayne, like the niggas that were dominating that mixtape era, them niggas loved rap.
Facts.
And Jeezy can't tell me he didn't and was in the streets, nigga. That nigga tried 3 times before he popped off his Jeezy. He was Lil J. He put out another CD before then. Even with Gucci, man, you and I was standing right there at the video shoot when we was down there with Star. That nigga was like, bro, I used to sell drugs and rob niggas to get studio time. So it wasn't that these niggas was, oh, I'm in love with the street, just happened to be a street nigga and rap just something that caught on. Like, them niggas was into it, regardless of the street persona that they had. And now I think niggas is more into this, having that street persona, than they is like, I'm finna shock the world. I'm finna shake shit up. I'm finna put out a trap house. I'm finna put out an Air Force Ones. I'm finna jack. I watched that mixtape series on Hulu. I don't know if you've seen it yet. And Lil Wayne had it. It's good. It's
I forgot that's out. Oh, I'm glad you said that. I gotta
Man,
watch it.
Wayne had one of the best quotables from there. He was like, niggas keep talking about mixtape this. He said, it ain't a mixtape, nigga, unless you took a nigga beat and you completely obliterated it. Made motherfuckers forget that he even rapped on there.
Yep.
That's what a mixtape is, nigga. And he just went into like his thought process in creating the squads and all of that shit. Same thing with a Jada Kiss and all of those 50 Cent. The people like them niggas loved to rap. Nowadays, it ain't that many artists that you run into, at least it doesn't come off that way, that they love to rap. They love Instagram. They love for you to think they got money. They love Hellcats. They love Trackhawks. They love all of that, but I don't know if niggas love to rap no more.
Yeah. See, here's the thing about the mixtapes. The definition of a mixtape has changed since what you just named it. It evolved. It's essentially an album without a barcode at the end of the day. That's what it morphed into. Now, if we're talking taking it back to mixing it up with a couple of originals, couple of jack beats, okay, then yes, I would be here for that. But I'm afraid that it may also open the door up for just more. And I think that I don't think we need more of anything right now. I think we have plenty of people making music. I think if anything, people need to slow down and be a little bit more deliberate with what it is that they're putting out. I think it was Ice-T that said we don't get full bodies of work no more. I can argue that there's some truth in that statement because it's became microwavable. It's became quantity over quality. Like, dude, what I love for an A-lister to hop on 5 or 6 jack beats, throw in 3 or 4 fire-ass leftovers, and have drama talking over it or somebody talking over it, that'd be dope. Drop it tomorrow? Yes. That'd be hard as fuck, nigga. Throw in a couple of features we wouldn't see coming? Yes. That would be dope. It would be exciting for sure. If the right person did it. I don't need Sexy Red doing it, with all due respect, and then the following day, nigga, Ice Spice doing it, and then the following day, Blueface doing it, and then the following day. No, nigga, like, not everybody on the same beat. No, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to be monkey see, monkey do, and everybody's going to jack the same peaches and whatever the fuck the beat is called, eggplants.
Piece of eggplant.
30 niggas going to have their own version of that shit. That's what we don't want. I don't want 30 niggas to have their own version, dude. So that's the only problem. The floodgates would open. I respect Quavo for wanting to get these joints off that he got and trying to revive or bring some excitement to the game. But just link up with drama, bro, and just do a Gangsta Grills tape.
I kind of disagree with you on that, AB, in the sense of that's what I was speaking about when I want to hear it from niggas that rap. And niggas that give a fuck about the craft and like, I'm finna go in here. Like Wayne used to say on that Squad shit, one of the favorite Squad songs, niggas and bitches, I'm finna murder this shit. Yep. If I had the niggas coming in there with that mentality, or the lady rappers now, if they coming in there with that mentality, then I want to hear it. It might be whack or whatever. There may be a influx of it, like you're saying, you're right. But there were more people coming in with that mentality, like, oh, this nigga is not gonna rap behind me, or I'm gonna take his beat and this shit gonna be mine. Like the mentality, I feel like back then, even on a local level, even if it was niggas from our hometown that were rapping on jack beats, the thought process was, I'm going to kill this shit better than the person that did it before. You are absolutely right in the sense that I do think the new game, the new rap game would just be, oh, it's the hot beat. Just get on there and do whatever Ice Spice does. And me and you going to look at it like, oh, bro, like you're wasting our time.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear the people that gave a fuck do it. Like I love to hear from J. Cole every once in a while, Kendrick Lamar every once in a while. Like even Schoolboy claiming it's not a sport. People with big names who can really rap and like, nah, I'm gonna take this beat. Like this shit, I'm gonna show you how to do this with that thought process versus I'm just doing this because it's popular and everybody else doing it.
See, I don't even necessarily have to reserve it to the people who are lyrical artists, because you can true. Be a Uzi or somebody and put your spin on something.
Put your sauce on there.
Just put some creativity in it. That's all I would ask.
Give a fuck.
Yeah,
at least just give a fuck. Don't just put it out because everybody else doing it. Oh, everybody on the peaches and eggplant. Let me do the bow, 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 bow a couple times a different way.
Yeah, no.
Like, nah, bro. We want to hear some new shit.
That would get on my nerves.
Absolutely.
Interesting thought, man. Though.
Yeah, definitely interesting. I'm here for Quavo, man. Start that shit off. Jackson Beats and put that shit out on and start a mixtape site. Can't be no more than 100,000, man. I was in mind to do that. All right, next, man. Are you surprised over the weekend, AB, your man's Gunna, young Pushing P himself? He did a couple dates in New York, and it looked like it was quaking in the Gunna concert, man. I want to ask you, do you or are you surprised at the turnout for the New York show for Gunna?
Yeah, he had Barclays rattling,
Shaking.
sold out show. No,
Two
I'm
nights
not
in a row, I want to
surprised.
say.
You said who?
I think it was 2 nights in a row.
Oh, I ain't know that. Nah,
If
you
I'm
might
not
have made that
mistaken.
up. I'm gonna be real.
If I'm not mistaken, let me check.
Uh, we know at least it was one, but he was in Brooklyn at the Barclays. It was shitty. Sold out show. I will say, am I surprised? No, not at all. Two reasons. One, his album that he came out, people really liked. So it was a good project, and it won a lot of fans over in terms of just being quality music. People likened it to his contemporaries like Dirk and other artists like that, and Thug, and it's the undisputed champ of that class of artists. People really rock with it. So, like we always say, good music trumps everything at the end of the day in terms of antics, in terms of controversy. A hit record, man, niggas forgetting about all that shit. Number two, his last album before this one, DS Forever with Pushin P on it and a couple of other songs that went up, dropped the same month that we went in quarantine. It dropped March 2020. So he didn't get a chance to perform those records. So this is really like a tour. This is really like your last two projects. You get to hear, if you're a Gunna fan,
your first time hearing it out.
It's your first time hearing all of this. And it was from what we see, a 1 or 2 night thing only in New York. Like, this a look. Yeah. Like it was, man, the energy looked like it was crazy there. Obviously, I wasn't there. It looked like it was popping. And he slimmed down, like he looked different now and everything. Like he looked like he was enjoying himself. He shouted out Thug, yelled free Thug, all of that shit. Everybody went crazy. Hey, I get to him. I'm not surprised though because of those two reasons though.
We asked, was this going to be able to do this when he was going through it? We asked, would he get back to you? And I'm impressed. I am impressed. It reminds me of when 50 Cent and Rick Ross went at it. And 50 Cent was the big bad wolf. Now, it's a slightly different scenario. 50 Cent was a big bad wolf. He had ended a couple of careers, major careers.
Facts.
But we saw that picture of Ross come out with the I remember when we saw it.
CO.
He had the correctional officer shit on him. We were like, oh, no beard, no nothing. And we wondered, like, man, what's gonna happen? And Ross just kept coming out with bangers, like bangers. 50 Cent was still joking around, still doing videos and cartoons, and all Rick Ross was doing was putting out heat.
Yeah.
Skip forward to Gunna. Same thing here. Like you said, I really wasn't a big fan of the album, but I realized that that's because that's not for me. I do recognize that it's really good music, though, especially for the people that fuck with that genre like they do, especially coming off of niggas like Lil Baby and Thug being locked up. They cold. They slick cold right now, regardless of how they want to. Yeah, they're cold. Yeah. Like, their albums didn't do what Gunna's did. And for people who are of some certain generation and listen to that type of music, they're going to listen to the best thing that's out. And it ain't Baby and it ain't Thug and it ain't Dirk. It's Gunna. So, yeah. Are you surprised that he didn't do an Atlanta show?
No, not at all.
Would you have booked an Atlanta show if you were on his team?
It may be coming. It was just one. I mean, it was just one show. I mean, you know what I mean? It ain't like he did 7 dates and then Atlanta was mysterious.
He doing an LA shot too, though.
He did who?
He doing an LA spot too.
That makes sense, though. When he does an Omaha, Nebraska, and doesn't do Atlanta, then I'll be looking sideways. But New York and LA, that you do those. You do those. You go get them two bags,
bro. That's still kind of funny. It's like, would you are you saying if you're on his team, you're avoiding Atlanta, or are you saying just it might be coming? Like, what are you saying?
You never know. He might be coming. He might be doing one of those festivals or something. Ain't no telling.
But it don't look funny to you that he ain't got no Atlanta date out yet.
Nah. It don't,
because a lot of people giving him criticism about not having an Atlanta date.
He can't hear them over the 30,000 people that were at Barclays cheering him on. He can't hear whoever the fuck is giving him flack for that.
Would you skip Atlanta though?
Why?
Would you skip Atlanta?
I don't think so. If the analytics tell me
they had the little shit out that people were throwing bananas at his or cheese at his car, like for rats, and in the clubs, everybody stopped dancing when they played his song.
That was cap.
This was early on. Now they showed the video. It was videos. People was booing and shit like that. And this may be a side of Atlanta that they don't fuck with him. I don't know. I ain't outside like that. But what I'm saying is, would you take that into consideration if you were on Gunna's team, or would you be like, nah, we finna shake Atlanta? Fuck that.
I'm looking at the analytics. Mm-hmm. If my song is streaming crazy in Atlanta, if my album is streaming crazy in Atlanta, then we're going to Atlanta and we're selling out wherever the fuck we want to do, and it's gonna go up. It's gonna go up. Like, but I do like the reference to Ross. Because when his back was against the wall and 50 was applying, nigga, humongous amounts of pressure because that Officer Ricky was banging. Let's be clear. That was a nice like little shot, and it was like, oh man. And then Ross dropped that deeper than rap and had that Valley of Death on there, nigga. And Maybach Music too.
Nigga was not bullshitting.
And then he followed that up with Teflon Don. Like, bro, like, he back. He back. You drop a classic, bro. You like,
right. He slick did the reverse on 50. Like, nigga, okay, I see what you're doing. I'm gonna come out with this Teflon Don, nigga.
He did what Ja Rule couldn't do. Ja Rule dropped blood in my eye. That ain't gonna get you no interviews.
Yeah, that ain't gonna do it. But I got this BMF in the tuck right here. If you heard this, nigga, it's over. Listen. You heard this Tears of Joy I got with Raphael Sadiq? Oh, okay. You still doing cartoons and shit, nigga?
Yeah, don't nobody care about that shit after you drop shit like that, though.
I got a song with CeeLo, my nigga. Like, come on, what we doing? And that's probably why people,
it trumps that shit, bro.
Yeah, that's probably why people stopped taking 50 serious, too. He leaned into that a little too long while Ross was like, I'm putting out fucking smashes.
And he wasn't.
Yeah, I don't even know what you got going on over there with your little shopping sprees and shit, bro.
No, he was cold. He was cold. That's what hurt. See, that's the thing. When 50 was doing that shit, even though the song, the Officer Ricky shit was kind of hot, he was overall, G-Unit was cold. 50 music was cold. This is pre-power. Bro, like, so nobody cared. Like, niggas was listening to that Ross, BMF. Like, man, bro, if Ja Rule would have came out with BMF, he'd still be popular right now.
That would have changed the whole beef right there. Ja Rule had that BMF on the tuck, man. You had let a nigga get away with a lot with not having to say nothing. You got that BMF in the tuck. I got this in the tuck. Man, stop it, bro. Y'all niggas is not like, come on. All right, man. Go ahead.
This is me. New singles, man. I told you the ladies dropped out here in the streets. We had a remix to the Young Nudy and 21 Savage joint with Sexy Red and Lotto. And then Cardi and Meg popped back out. Meg said Cardi said she wasn't doing no features. But then she said, I'll drop my own shit, though. I guess this is her own shit. Cardi and Meg, it's called Bongos. Trying to see if lightning can strike twice between those two. Did you prefer either, or what did they do for you?
That Bongos wasn't anything for me. I feel like they was on the Renaissance Drake path, trying to cater to that crowd. Lotto just had the feature with the same type of beat. That's what I felt that Bongo was. Like, if you're going on vacation this year and you're on a resort, you're gonna hear that playing in the background. That wasn't for me at all. I've been praying for somebody that could rap. No disrespect to Young Nudy or 21 Savage, but I have been praying for someone who was bars first, jump on that peaches and eggplant beat. And I was excited to hear Lotto on there. I knew she was going to be talking her shit like she does, but she also got a flow too. So I wanted to hear what she did to the beat, and I wasn't disappointed. Sexy Red is what she is. I'm not here to hate on her like some of the other people in the world. So I take that for what it is. But the peaches and eggplant for me, just because of the beat. I still am an advocate of many more rappers jumping on that beat before it get too cold and just slaughtering it. But I do like what Lotto did to it, and that Bongos was not for me at all.
But I'm gonna I got more to say on the Lotto and Sexy Red, but for the Bongos joint, this song was okay. Meg saved it when she came in because her flow was precise on that motherfucker. She saved it from just being some slaw, a complete skip. But that really didn't do nothing for me. But the Lotto and Sexy Red, are you surprised at the amount of attention that Sexy Red is getting and the looks that she's getting? She opened up for the Drake on several of his stops. She's getting on this remix, that remix. Her remix of her own shit had Nicki on it. Are you surprised? Like, were you expecting her 15 minutes to be up by now?
That is a really good question. And yes, I did. However, there was a pivot that was made somewhere.
I agree.
She started taking the Donald Trump approach. I don't know who's backing her. I don't know what type of marketing team she got. But when Donald Trump became famous, it was almost because he was so polarizing. Like either if you hated him or loved him,
You felt the
it
way.
was all it was like I had to at least respond or pay
watch.
attention. Right. Or even have a conversation with someone who I normally don't even talk about this shit with about like this because it's all over the news and it's everywhere. And how I would liken that to Sexy Red is it's like a very fine line of people that hate her.
Yeah.
And people that like, nah, y'all hating on her, let her do her thing. She ratchet, she providing for her family, she unapologetic, black woman and represent for black culture. There's that part, and there's other part that's like, nah, she's embarrassing.
Yeah.
My kids listening to it. I don't want my kids, and they shouldn't be pumping it the way that they do. And for her, she says just enough where, you really don't, you can't hate her. You hating the image of her. Yeah. She ain't really came out or done nothing where you can be like, I dislike her. So the people who are hating, it's easier for the people that like her, like, oh, y'all just hating because y'all are not like that. No. So she's caught lightning in a bottle just because of the conversation around her. Like I said, similar to Trump. Like you gotta have an opinion on how ratchet she is or what she's rapping about. Are the kids gonna be affected by it? Like it's a very interesting conversation that's being had around Sexy Red right now. And I'm surprised. Yes, like you said, I thought it would be over by now.
Definitely. I thought it'd be over too. I thought she was more along the lines of the Sukiana, which is more like a joke. That's not really to be taken.
That's like a parody.
It's like a parody. Yeah, she's more
like your boy parody. That's I'm fat. She like that dude.
Who the fuck
the dude that do all the fake songs? I'm fat and the white dude.
Weird Al?
Yeah, that nigga. That's what Sukiana is. Sukiana is a Weird Al type. Yeah,
agreed. And so that's what I thought she was. That's the lane I thought she was gonna go in, and then she was just gonna do some OnlyFans or some shit like Gal do. But she seems to be taking it more on some like I'm being featured on songs. I'm doing, and so that's interesting. That's the pivot that I've noticed, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But here's the thing, though, and man, I said this when we talked about the Gunna show, but everything is analytic based. If every time she gets tweeted about or she has a clip about it, it does this amount of impressions, man, you think niggas on OVO ain't looking like, wait a minute, hold on. Hey, we need somebody to open up these last couple ones, make it. Who's everybody talking about? Go on Twitter and see who everybody talking about. Okay, it's her. Yeah, call her people up then. We got the 15 bands. Boom. Now she's in front of Drake. Wait, who? Boom, boom, boom. We need somebody for this Peaches and Eggplant. Who everybody talking about? Okay, go get. People have to realize it's not necessarily about skills if people like them and it's who are people talking about. That's all people care about, dude. Good, bad, indifferent. Nobody gives a shit. It's about the numbers and the impressions and who people are paying attention to. And right now, they're paying attention to her. So she's going to get looks, dude. Like that's a part of it. If people want that to go away, they got to stop watching. That's it.
See, and I tell you, I'm not the biggest advocate for her. I won't say that. But what I do appreciate is that it looks authentic to me. It doesn't look like she's doing this from 9 to 5 and then she go home and she's like a totally different girl.
Yeah.
It seems like this is her authentic self. And that about it, I do appreciate it. It may not be the skill set. It may not be the subject matter. I do appreciate her being her authentic self and being able to go out there and make a living and change her family, like change the trajectory. I really appreciate that because it doesn't seem like that she's trying to do or people are forcing her to do stuff that she's not comfortable with. It seems like this is what she's leaning into. So if that's what she want to do, you like it, I love it.
Here's the thing. Are people enjoying it and laughing with her or are they laughing at her? Because when she was at the BET Awards with the money and the song came on and people were looking at Bobby Jones,
preacher dude was
to some people that's embarrassing though. Like nigga, you're embarrassing. And I remember we talked about that. I said there's a segment of people who understand that this exists, but like it when it's ducked off in the cut, and it's not
in East St. Louis and not in LA.
Yeah, and not in front of company. That's how some people look at, or not even company, just in front of just regular motherfuckers. People like to put that in the back of their head and act like it don't exist. That's the thing.
See, the lazy part of it is when people try to say, oh, well, this is influencing my kids and this, that, and the third. I do understand what they mean. I get it. Because now that I'm the age that I am, I understand some of the influences that music had in my life.
Right,
I
right,
do.
right.
I didn't get it then, and I would argue against it to the death of me when I was younger. But now I do understand since I listened to less rap music. But my counter to that would be like that's still your responsibility as a parent, as a guardian, as a person who gives a fuck about that young person who you feel like is being hindered by this. You are supposed to step in and be the overall character in their life that they get something from. It's cool if they listen to Sexy Red, but at least they can come to you and say, oh, and you can correct them, tell them when and where not to do that. I feel like that's fine. But the people that try to say, oh, man, this is ruining my kid's life and my daughter did this because of Sexy Red, get the fuck out of here. I'm not biting that.
That's a
It's
stretch.
still your responsibility. Yeah.
I agree.
All right, man. Before we get out of here and get to our wins and losses, AB, our man Yo Gotti says that he studies Jay-Z records. He said he studies them like books. So this is a good question I thought would come from that. Which Hove album would you say has taught you the most?
That's a good question, considering that his albums are like books, and I've got the decoded book in my crib somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is a fire ass book, by the way. But if I had to pick one, I'm gonna cheat a little bit because it's not a solo album; it's a group album. I'm gonna do Watch the Throne. This was motivational speaking at its finest for me. Big stunt and talk, big money talk. Who gonna stop me? Made in America, murder to excellence, illest motherfucker alive. Like if you're down, if you're having a slow week, if nigga you trying to get your shit together and you need some aspiration, then you need to play this. And it reminds me of if this was a book, it would be an aspirational book. And it would be full of tidbits and daily affirmations to get your shit together, dude. And I think that this would be motivation enough. I listen to this to get motivated because they talking big dog shit. And I don't look from the lens of a hater. I look from the lens of now I can do this too if they can. So I would go Watch the Throne with him and Ye on there talking big shit.
I went back and forth with this one between Volume 1 and The Dynasty because I'm not necessarily picking my favorite albums, but I'm picking the albums where I learned, like you said, the most from. And I decided to go with Volume 1 when you had, first of all, I learned the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6 was about 30 to 40 G's. Cocksucker beat it. But even in Lucky Me, just how to deal with success and people who aren't as successful as you, where I'm from, like as a Southern person, being able to relate to that, him rapping about his projects and how the niggas down the street, what you thought them niggas fouled just like us, like You Must Love Me, the beef with your brother and mom going through situations that she had to go through for you guys to make it where you did, and even with his girl. Like I learned so much from Volume 1. I think for a long time it was my favorite Jay-Z album, but yeah, I would go Volume 1 just because it's so many gems from Imaginary Players, The Streets Is Watching, The Friend of Foe, Lucky Me. Like it's just like I'm really preparing. He was preparing himself to be as famous as he is now. And you can kind of see him talking in the mirror like, bro, you need to start getting ready for these things about to happen to you. Also speaking to the things that did happen to you. I think it was a perfect mixture. I love Volume 1. So that's the one for me. Dynasty, a close second, though.
Y'all let us know what book, what Hove album would you say taught you the most? That's a great question. Before we get out of here, man, let's get to these wins and these losses. Win or loss to your man Juicy J. He is promoting his book Chronicles of the Juice Man. He tried to go to Good Morning America in a straight jacket and a Hannibal Lecter mask, and they told him to change clothes before they went on air. Is that a win or a loss for Juicy J trying to go in the insane jacket on GMA?
It's a win that he changed and he listened to them. It's a loss for his team, the marketing person, the PR person that thought this was a good idea, your crossover moment, your big shot. I know you got a lot of money. I know you've seen a lot of success, Juicy J, but coming to him, I mean, Good Morning America is Good Morning America, bro. And you wouldn't have took to it. That's different. You don't go up here playing like in straight jackets and Hannibal Lecter masks, bro. For what? What is he? What are you marketing, bro? Like what?
He was
what
trying to make a statement about his book being mental health, and you know,
that's crazy. And then go up there and use your words, not props. Use your words, your big boy words. You big boy now, like you old man age, bro. You ain't doing the little games no more.
He
What do
ended
you
up
think?
winning on Breakfast Club. He looked silly. I'm gonna keep it a buck. So I'm with just an L. We saw what Bun B did. Bun B took his Trill Burgers to GMA, nigga, and that line ain't. It's been wrapped ever since. So use that opportunity,
Facts.
man, to get your book off, man. You could have had a
Yeah.
fucking #1 bestseller, bro. I can't take you seriously with a straight jacket and a Hannibal Lecter
If you
mask.
had
I'm
went
not
up
gonna be
there
able to
and
hear
yeah,
what you're saying.
exactly. That's a really good point. Went up there and done something worth people remembering and buying your book for versus going up there and being a fool.
W or L to finesse 2 times, keeping it Memphis. He promises to bail someone out in every city of his tour. He
That's a
was that he was on
W.
social media asking for information and cell numbers and all that shit.
It's a W on the surface. There's a little bit more that goes to it that I'm not sure that he's gonna be. I don't know if he got that much time or money to do the research. Like you just freeing niggas in any city, cause like y'all like is I promise you I can see it now.
Yeah.
You gonna have the niggas on social, man. That nigga snitch. I don't know why you freed him, nigga. He snitched on my boy, such, this, and the third. Or that nigga get out and God forbid he do
He
something to
do something.
somebody.
Yeah.
And they gonna say, oh, finesse paid
Liable.
his bill. Yeah,
Yep.
people gonna be doing that. Like, if
Yep.
you do this, this isn't a press release. This is, I'm a real nigga. I'm doing this in the city for people who may have some connections to me. Oh, I'm here. I know homie straight, and he making sure the shit good. He put us on the weed. You know anybody like now, bro? I'm gonna throw something on their bail or their books. You do that behind the scenes. That way, if something do happen, they can't blame that shit on you because they definitely are going to be looking for it now. I promise you that. So it's an L, him saying it publicly. It's a dope thing to do if you moving like you're supposed to be moving when you do it. But this ain't nothing that you put out there because some people going to use that on you.
Yeah, people going to look at that as a lick, man. I see it as a W. I'm still going to see it as a W because it fits his brand. If you know him, you know he went viral for the in jail freestyles, and he's got the iced out, his staple jewelry piece is the iced out broken cuffs. So that's part of his story. So I do like the thought behind it, but his team got to do their due diligence. They got to make sure they're not bailing out niggas touching kids and shit. Like you got to make sure like your team better be on top of it. I'm talking about you got to bail niggas out that's on like some little bullshit weed charge or something.
Got a traffic shit and couldn't pay his little bond or something, something like that,
nigga,
bro.
Jaywalking, nigga.
You start getting into murders and niggas got caught with packs and these niggas done told on somebody like hell no, I ain't got nothing to do with none of that, bro. Like nah. Worst case scenario, man, I set up a nonprofit, man. You get your mom and daddy to fill out paperwork, man, and I get some shit through there. But hell no, man, I ain't doing that.
Real quick, man. W or L to Kid Cudi, man. He said one of his biggest I ain't gonna say regrets, but one of his biggest L's in Hollywood was that he was up for consideration for the lead role in Jordan Peele's Get Out. Of course, we know that went to Daniel Kaluuya. At the end of the day, Kid Cudi said he couldn't watch that movie for over a year, man. He was sick that he didn't get the role. Is that a W or L for us that we got Daniel Kaluuya instead of Kid Cudi?
It's a W for us. Because Daniel Kaluuya, one of the best actors. That nigga killed that. He one of the best actors our generation now. Iconic scene with the eyes and shit. Like, so he did a great job. That being said, Kid Cudi is a good actor, though.
For sure.
Like, I really enjoyed him in some of the stuff that he's in. And I could see him playing that part, too. Like, I could see that,
well,
bro.
Now, you know what? You're right.
I couldn't see him doing it as well as Daniel Kaluuya, but I could see him doing it. Which is why I say it's a W for us that the better man got the job. He ought to just be able to say that, man. He ought to be like that. To me, that's weak. Like if somebody does something better than me, I ain't gonna be sitting at home stewing like, man, I can't even watch this shit. Like I'm gonna take notes and figure out how to get better, bro. Like that's just me though. Being like I can't even watch it, like I know he don't feel like that he would have did a better job. I hope he don't think that.
Hey, he might think it's a sport out here, man. You know what I'm saying he might get that Mamba mentality and be like, nigga, I would have bodied that shit, and which I respect. But it's no different than Puff saying when Puff said he didn't watch Paid in Full because he was sick. He didn't think of it first. So it's like it's a healthy hate. You know, he was he was joking about it. He wasn't like super serious. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's just that's a light L if you're him. You really wanted it, you didn't get it. It should turn out to be fire as hell. You're like, fuck, that could have been me. Or I think I could have done a equal job, no matter how delusional that may seem. Even though he got one of the most underrated TV shows ever in How to Make It in America, though. That was ahead of its time.
Yeah,
And
he
Kid
was
Cudi
good
did a
on that.
good
He got
job.
another good role coming up. I just seen it today, and it's escaping my memory what he's playing. But he playing something that looks like it could be fairly interesting. I cannot remember what it was. But he's a really good actor. There's something else that he's good in besides How to Make It in America too. I just can't remember what it was.
Yeah, no, he's solid.
Yeah, he's a solid actor.
Let me get to this on decker of the week. Shout out to the newest subscriber on YouTube, man. D Free Chillin'. Triple salute, man. Appreciate you joining in. Thank you for tapping in. Real quick before we get out of here, man, give me something. Put me on something.
The mixtape series on Hulu. Actually, it's just one episode. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. Documentary, really solid. It goes through how the mixtape started, what it is, talk to some of the most popular mixtape artists. It's a really good, if you're into mixtapes, like we've just been talking about this episode, man, it gives you a good breakdown on how it got to what it is and what it is now. So check that out.
For sure. I'm going to go to, well, two things. Number one, y'all fuck with that Equalizer. It was pretty dope. They 3 for 3 with the series. They did not disappoint. If y'all haven't already checked it out. Did you check it out?
Not yet.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. And on HBO, I was debating on talking about this, but there's a Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez documentary. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because it's probably the first documentary that is biased in both directions. It's split into two sides. One side is called Megan's side, and the other side is called Tory's side. And so it's a balanced, because trust me, they are both very skewed to the respective person of whichever side that it is you're watching. So it's actually pretty solid. It's called 5 Shots, which is kind of corny, but there are some footage that I had never seen before. And so if you're interested in trying to get to the bottom of that, this close thing you're going to get to an True Hollywood Story for all my washed older people out there that remember those back in the day. That's the closest you're going to get to that. And again, it's not biased in either direction. It's biased in both. So if anybody was concerned about that. So it's worth a watch, even though it gets a little bit repetitive when you watch the other side, because there's some information that overlaps, but it is pretty interesting.
Interesting. Did you develop a you think you know what happened more looking at that?
Nah, I kind of think I already
before then.
Yeah, I think I have an opinion.
Gotcha.
But it didn't really sway that. But it did show some shit I hadn't seen. There was 911 calls I hadn't heard. There's the Ring doorbell caught the shots. I had never heard that. I had never seen the ambulance body cam with Megan in the ambulance. I hadn't never seen any of that. There was a lot of shit I hadn't seen though. So which is what a documentary is supposed to do. Supposed to gather all of the shit that you missed and put it in one condensed 90-minute package, and so that way nobody got to go and search and look for this shit, because I ain't got the energy to do anything and I don't care that much. But it's definitely worth checking out though.
Interesting. I might check that out.
Man, listen, that's another episode in the books. On Deck TV show. Make sure you go to youtube.com/On Deck TV show and subscribe, leave comments. We'd appreciate that. Appreciate y'all for taking hanging in there with us for the week off as well. Hope y'all had a safe holiday. Anything else before we get out of here?
And that's it. We are out.
Yes, sir.